Hey everybody, it's Steve and welcome to Wackadoo Brewing. This is Wackadoo Unhinged. Today, my special guest with us here will be Sarah Emery. Sarah Emery is running for Congress here in Colorado. And my host today will be Renee, because Dennis is off on another one of his little adventures. And the Brew Squatch, aka Sean. So Sarah, you are running for Congressional District 14 here in Colorado, right? 13?
Yes.
It is 14?
State House of Representatives, House District 14.
Yes,
It's a
it's
mouthful.
it is a lot. And I'm always trying to explain to people the difference between, like, I'm running for federal Congress, you're running for state Congress.
Yes. So I am the state version of you.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you look a little better than I do. I'm rough around the edges. And you have a party. So
I do have a party.
So you're running as a Democrat.
I am running as a Democrat. But I will be honest, I have been an unaffiliated voter almost my entire adult life until December of. So I've been a Democrat for almost 5 months now. So, and with that has pros and cons because I still kind of have that unaffiliated spirit in my heart, in all honesty.
So what do they call that? Because, like, Rhino is Republican in name only when they're a Republican, but only because they say they're Republicans. So on the Democrat side, it's like Democrat light.
Yeah, maybe. But, you know, I kind of looked around our district and our state, and I will give more power to you for running as an independent. It's a lot more work, a lot more effort. I think I have a lot of rules. You have even
mine
weirder,
are incredible.
Hoops to jump through. And so really that was it. That's what it was about. Partly ease of getting on the ballot.
Yeah.
2, there are some great resources. And 3, in all reality, if there was ever a time to draw a line in the sand for me, it was kind of now, right? As I looked around at, like, the greater scheme of our world. And so I decided to affiliate and do something because I didn't want to just complain and not be willing to take any action because
there's a great deal of that of people that they want somebody to make a difference, but that somebody's never them.
Yeah,
you know, it's like somebody should do something. Not me, but somebody.
Somebody, yes. Because I promise, I would much rather be sitting in my favorite chair with my dog, with my Kindle, maybe some snacks. You know, that is much more what I would rather be doing in my evenings, right? But you kind of look around and you're like, well, somebody should be doing the somethings, right?
Yes.
And so here we are, right?
Yeah.
Trying to be the somebodies that protect all of us. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, and not doing it as a career. That's always been my most disliked thing about politics is the people that are like, this is going to be my life. And you're like, that's it. You're going to just
seems like a sad life.
It really, it's how many people can I con, and how many people can I get on my side without saying anything.
And I mean, even if you're a good politician, the way the country is divided nowadays, no matter what party you pick, you're signing up for a job that roughly a third to half the population hates you.
Yes.
Just because of something on paper.
What you put on your ticket, whether there's an R or a D, automatically the other half hates you.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, heaven forbid, like, we remember things that, like, character of the person should matter, civility, knowing how to act in public, even if you disagree with people, because, I see adults acting in such a way. I'm like, if my kid acted that way, I would be snatching them up, and we would be having a stern conversation about appropriate public behavior. So it's like, why am I expecting more of a 9-year-old?
Your parents never hit you as a child, did they?
Right, yeah.
And, I'm like, I'm expecting more of a 9-year-old than we do of, like, leaders of our country, and that's ridiculous, right? Like, don't bully, don't be mean, treat other people the way you want to be treated. These, like, crazy things.
What happened if you don't have something nice to say? Don't speak.
Keep your mouth closed. So I'm like,
not
Mom,
everything that passes behind your eyes needs to come out your mouth.
Yes, and it's so, like, and, like, the inability to collaborate and, like, talk to somebody who's different. I was telling you earlier, this year's my 20th wedding anniversary. Love that
Congratulations.
guy. Yes, thank you. But you know who I don't agree with all the time? That guy, right? I know, hard to believe. And I'm like, if I don't agree with him and I've, like, signed up to spend my life with him, I was like, then I guess who I'm not going to agree with all the time? You guys,
Yeah.
And so it's all about how we decide to act and handle that and be like, hey, maybe if we stop and talk like grown-ups and use our big kid words, we can find some things we agree on.
Yeah, you can do it without screaming and yelling.
I try, yeah, real hard. Real hard.
That was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to have you on the podcast. Is when I met you, we were at the Union Labor meetup breakfast, and then I immediately followed you to the. I didn't know it at the time, but it was the Democratic debate there at the library.
Yeah.
I was politely told I wasn't allowed to speak at that one.
Yeah.
I went up and
ended
asked.
Up telling you?
Yeah. I went up
like,
and asked.
Okay.
And they're like, "No, you're not a Democrat. You can't speak at this." And I was like, "Okay," but I still sat through the whole thing and I listened to everybody. And you were the last one of the last ones to speak. And I pointed something out to you early on, and it was true throughout almost the entire day. Was that as soon as I got up there to speak, they said their name, and then immediately, we have to get this person out of office. Whoever it was they were running against, almost the entire, like, everybody got like, what, 3 to 5 minutes, something like that? And almost the entire time was spent why you shouldn't like their opponent.
Yeah.
Never about what they were doing, how they were helping, what they'd previously done. It was all just, we got to put this other person down. You have to vote for me to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And you went up there and you spoke, and it was about you and what you're doing and what you're standing for versus, I never heard you, I don't even know who you're running against because I never heard you say a word about them.
Well, because that person's not, it's not that they're not the priority, but my campaign's about me and what I'm going to do, what I want to do, and who I am, right? I've kind of been on this kick of like civility, collaboration, character. Those are the things that matter more than an R or a D by your name, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's why I always share kind of the story of where I'm from, right? Like, I'm from a small rural country town in southern Oklahoma, right? My dad was a carpenter, welder, disabled vet. My mom was the queen of a side hustle because there were 4 kids and she was going to show up for all of us, and we needed crazy things like braces, so knowing what it's like to come from a working family matters, right? That's still my roots, right? And
I think that was a big difference too when I was talking with you, is you can always tell the people that grew up hard, where you knew what every dollar was worth versus you just got whatever you wanted all the time, and your family was like doctors and lawyers. And I've met a few of those now, like one of the ladies who's no longer running because she lost in the Democratic primaries. I mean, not the caucus in my district.
Okay.
The first time I met her, she was in her nice business suit, very fancy looking, and she came up to introduce herself because she was going around to everybody. And when she said, "Hey, I'm running for Congress," and I was like, "Oh, me too." And she was like, "In what district?" And I said, "District 5." And she was like, looked me up and down and walked away, never even finished the handshake.
Oh.
Because this is how I dress, this is who I am. And it was that automatic assumption that, and that's how you can tell people like that, they didn't grow up in a difficult life. Like, I don't judge anybody by the way they look.
Yeah.
I got a guy in here who used to work for NASA, $250,000 a year, and was sitting right beside an electrician making $18 an hour, and they dressed the same way, they spoke the same way, they enjoyed an evening together. And you never judge somebody. You never know who's
Dude's
walking.
Got a thicker Southern accent than I do.
It's very true. Yes, he does. Oh my God, especially the more he drinks.
Yeah, he is a redneck rocket scientist.
Yeah.
It's
But he's
fantastic.
He's a down to earth, good old boy. But he can talk physics and rocket telemetries and stuff like that with you.
Yeah.
And it's that, not judging somebody and how quickly people with money will judge you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I always, making ends meet took the whole family as a kid, right? And so, I started mowing lawns with the family at 12 and kept that up through college. And, and that's how I paid my sorority dues was I mowed lawns. It's like, I did all the things because I said I wanted to do them, but I was willing to do the work to figure out how to make it happen. And, I was like, that's not your normal sorority girl. I was like, but I want to do this. And my parents were like, well, figure out how to find the money.
Yeah, you're paying, as long as you're paying for it.
Yeah, they're like, well,
that sounds awesome. How are you going to pay for it?
Yeah, I have really early mornings and getting hot and sweaty, right? And but I learned real quick. I was like, this isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life, right? And my parents were like, well, we didn't go to college. My dad always said I barely graduated high school because D is for dandy and F is for fine. And so he was like, if you're doing better than that, you're doing better than I did. But he was like,
C's get degrees.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you will go to college and you will graduate. We don't have any money to pay for that, so you better figure it out.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. My siblings were like, okay. And so we all did, right? And, but because they pushed us, right? We got to go on and do more and be more because they, like good parents, nagged us every step of the way.
Yeah. So what made you want to get into running for Congress?
Still not sure 100% I want to seems like a strong word.
What was the moment where you're like, this is what I have to do?
Yes, that's probably better because I will be honest. My goal for 2026, my personal goal was, I kind of put my career on like slow-mo while my kids were little, and as they were getting older and I have the time and the ability, I was going to grow my law firm that I've kind of been managing over here, but very part-time. And I was like, I'm going to grow this. And so as I was preparing to do that last fall, I was working on the D20 school board election.
Yeah.
And that did not go the way I had hoped, and the people that I had worked with didn't win that election. And so at their Thanks for Trying With Us event, I met the House District 14 chair, and she was looking for somebody to run because House District 14 statistically always loses by 20 basis points, right? And so the odds aren't in my favor. And I was kind of like, well, I'm unaffiliated. Good luck finding somebody. Best of luck. Yeah. But she was like, well, you could always affiliate and, kind of start doing the work. And I just marinated in that. And I really thought about it. It's like, here I've been whining and complaining, being displeased with how elections and stuff came out. But in reality, it's like, I'm not the type that says like, oh, there's a problem, somebody will fix it.
Yeah.
Well, I usually like to be the somebody. I'm an over volunteer. I'm like, oh, y'all need somebody to do that. And I'm like, my hand starts raising and I'm like, stop, go down. I have enough. I have enough to do. And that was kind of where this started. And I just sat with that, like, I could do this. I have the skills, the ability, the education, the background, of somebody who has worked real hard and made a lot of sacrifices to achieve the life I have today. And by all means, I did not do that alone, but I'm the one who went to school and did the work and had the crappy jobs and, I did that. And so I was like, I know what that's like. And I also know what it's like to now be able to say that I'm a lawyer, and really proud of that because I'm the first in my family to ever do something like that. And so I decided, if I'm going to do this, I need to become a Democrat by January 1st because I read the rules, right?
Yeah.
Being a rule follower. And so I went ahead and affiliated, and I started talking to the people around me, and they're like, that's great. Do it.
Yeah.
How can I help? How can I help? And then slowly your village starts growing, and you realize all these things you don't know. And you got to figure out because there's a lot of rules and loopholes and all of this. And so I decided I'm going to do my part to support the community I love. I've lived in Rock Rimmon for 10 years in our house where we are today. And I was like, I love this. We bought that house to be the raise the kids in it house. Yeah. And this is where we're committed to staying. And I hate moving, so I plan to live there forever. So
yeah, that's where the point where we finally got to. Both of us military, both of us grew up like that, and so constant moving. Just in the few years we've been together, we've moved 4 times.
Yeah.
And just it's more than once a year. And finally we're in a beautiful home, and we're raising Haley, our daughter, and it's like, this is it. And we're like 2 blocks from the brewery, so getting to work on the motorcycle takes me 3 minutes to get to work. It takes me longer to start the motorcycle and back it out than it does to get here. Yes. So I'm like, this is perfect. I love it. And so we are actually the only brewery in your district. So thank you for coming out here.
No, and I love it. I'd actually only been here maybe once before with my hiking group. We came here for after our hiking. It's like, we need to go celebrate, the fact that we meandered through
and you've got
down a trail for a few.
Yeah, and you've got Ute Valley Park right up the road. Yeah. And that's one of the nonprofits that we work with, helping them with that.
Sometimes.
Yeah. No, you getting out of the house and doing something with a group, that's an accomplishment.
Oh. Yeah, and you're all making it back in one piece.
It's ridiculous how hard it is to motivate yourself to do it, because like yesterday, if I hadn't had somebody going with me, I'd have probably sat at the house and painted miniatures all day. But Had somebody that wanted to go on a ride, did 120 miles.
Yeah, you just would not have done it.
It was
if it had been there.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because yesterday was beautiful too.
Just like today, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
these next few days are supposed to be great, and then again on the weekend, then it's going to get crappy
Yes.
again.
You know, today I was like, I'm going to sit outside and work on the deck in the sunshine because it's a nice day, and who wants to be inside?
Right?
Saw an osprey catch a fish out of the river.
Oh, nice. We had two birds fly into the brewery. This morning,
they were so annoying.
Well, it looked like, because they're the little ones, they're not sparrows, but something else real small. I'm not too good with birds.
Yeah.
But magpies were chasing them out back, and they flew in our back door and went out the front. And it was just like, well, eventually.
Took a while.
Eventually.
One
yeah,
hit a window,
it
got a
took a-
concussion.
But
it was
we put them back
I
outside.
have a
just-
vague
Chase
memory
running
of, I
through
think
the
it was
brew- this
Corey
brew.
catching a bird in here at one point.
Yeah, for
he
some,
tried.
they catch it just right, like the air draft or something, and they just swoop in. But we ended up getting them both out, and they're both safe. They both were all right. But it was just, just randomly, you're standing here, and all of a sudden, birds are flying around the brewery.
And you're like, oh.
But it was a beautiful day.
It is. Yeah.
I hated myself for not having the camera on me. This thing comes up, and right in front of me, I see it come up, fold his wings in, and pause in the air, right in
just
front of
hard
the
dive.
bike, and then just tilts in, snatches a big ass trout out of the river, and
Nice.
takes him off.
Nature. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Circle of life.
I was
Or
kicking myself for not having the camera.
Usually you wear like a GoPro.
I've got a 360 camera.
Okay.
It does beautiful. Like when we go out on rides, the view on a 360 is incredible because then you're not missing anything.
Oh, yeah.
You just edit it to which side it's looking at that time, and it's awesome. All right, so what were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to ask what branch of the military you were in. I can't remember.
Army.
Army.
I was an infantry guy, so I am the hard-charging grunt. Not the brightest person in the world, but I will get any job you want done.
Hey, grit and stubbornness, it's amazing what you can accomplish.
That's why this place is standing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. No loans, no partners. We had no money.
Yeah.
I literally sold everything I owned to start this place.
That's amazing.
And every year, even our best friends were like, this isn't going to work. There's no way you can make this happen. You're going to be bankrupt. You're going to be, being the only brewery in America that donates 100% of our profits every month to charity. Yeah. That in itself is overwhelming. And every professional business consultant we've talked to said we're insane and nobody should do this. So now I start my speeches that way. We do a lot of networking events for businesses and whatnot, and we give up and we talk about the brewery. And I always start that now. That's my caveat is do not do what we did, but here's some good advice on how to, run a business.
Well, I really respect that because that's one of the reasons I like owning my own law firm, because I have this personal philosophy that in theory the law is supposed to be for the common man, right? That's what it was designed to be.
Yes.
But let's be honest, in reality, that's not the way it is. And so either it's so convoluted reading it, or you're priced out of the ability to get a consultation or advice, because I know I couldn't walk into a law firm and be like $250, $350 an hour, and how many hours? Who knows? We'll let you know.
You took a phone call. That's 30 minutes right there,
And so, give me $5,000 and we'll see how as a retainer, and we'll see how it goes. And so one of the things I do that is not super common is I work on a flat rate fee. So we sit down, and so I do estate planning. And so I kind of have I've tried to create a little niche, a little box, right? And I say I do the X, Y, and Z. And if you want X, it costs this. If it costs Y, you want Y, it costs that. So people know what they're paying out the gate. I work out of my house, so, for the most part, so I don't have a lot of overhead, and so I can charge half of what another attorney would, because then everyday people should have that ability and that right, and to be sure, their stuff goes where they want it to go, right? And help people, give them advice or guide them for a reasonable...
Yeah, a lot of people just simply need some advice.
Yeah.
And I think that's when we were trying to find a lawyer for the brewery, just for different things that we do in here, it was a nightmare. It's we have to, you have to pay the retainer up front. You have to have that. And I was like, I just have a couple of questions. Can somebody answer that for $50 or $100? No. Thankfully, I've got an amazing lawyer who works at the Brewers Guild for the state of Colorado.
Oh.
Who also, amazing enough, they are backing me running for Congress because
that's awesome.
I'm a small business owner, I'm a brewery owner, I know, and so that was really amazing just to hear that.
Yeah.
I don't really, and anybody else who I don't know what's the right term for that when they say that they recommend you.
Endorse.
Thank you. Endorse. The endorsement's the
Felt
big
like that
one.
was a test.
When,
I'm like,
when they've got
okay,
the,
I know,
so and so endorses you.
Yeah.
I don't care about that because it's about what I'm doing. Because what if they're not aligned? And I'm an independent, so there's not going to be anybody endorsing me. So getting some of these businesses or like the VFWs and the American Legions backing me, that's a huge thing for me, and that's the kind of people I want backing me. But anyways, so thanks to the Colorado Brewers Guild, they've got a lawyer that they use, and you don't have to pay the retainer because he kind of works with the whole guild. So if you have questions, you can just email.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
I think over the last 5 years, he's charged me maybe like $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's not like, if it's just a quick email, he's like, he didn't even charge me.
Yeah.
If it's something he has to draft or draw up, then he charges me.
Yeah.
But in general, if I just have a quick question, be like, hey, what's the legality of this? And he'll just fire back the answer, and it's like, no charge.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. So
Well, and especially if you've got somebody who's got I call it the skill you can't put on a resume, the ability to figure it out. You know, that's hard to put into words, but like that's a way
problem-solving skills.
Yes. There you go.
That's most of my military career right there.
Yeah.
Is just
Oh,
problems.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just
I don't know how to do anything. I stare at it until I figure it out. That's how I keep most of the machinery in here running.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of times I'm like, well, I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't know how to didn't know how to run a campaign. I didn't know how to run for office, but you know what I can do? I can read and I can figure it out, and I can be committed to working hard on it.
The amount of stuff I've had to learn, and especially being on the independent side, because like until April 1st, we weren't told when we were allowed to start gathering signatures, when I was allowed to start doing anything.
And Google can't tell you everything.
And Google,
no, it can't.
And because that's run by the state. And the state told us April 1st reached out, and then we'll give you your dates. And then originally when we reached out, they said April 15th. And then about a week before that, they were like, no, it's going to be May 10th. We're like, why? Because there's no other independents running for Congress. So they just willy-nilly, they can change it however they please because I'm the only one.
Yeah. And do you do it all through the Secretary of the State, or don't you have like a special federal something you got to do too?
On the federal side is just for your FEC, your financing, and then you have to reach a certain amount by a certain date.
Okay.
And that's it. Everything else is state level because it's up to the state of Colorado how their congressmen are
representing them. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm like,
So it was April 1st, then it was April 15th. Now it's May 10th. When I can start gathering my signatures, which you guys are already done.
Yeah.
Yes. I can't even start until May 10th, and I've got until July 10th. So I've got a 2-month window.
How does that, so you won't be on the primary ballot
No,
on June 30th?
independents are not on. No.
Yeah. Okay.
Primary is only Democrat and Republican.
Okay, yes.
I'm going to be in the general election.
On November 3rd.
Yes. So I have to wait until they decide who the top Republican and Democrat are before I'm even considered for anything. I do not matter at all. That's why the Gazette and all these other ones have been doing papers on all the different people running, but there is zero mention of independents at all.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only one. But also, I don't matter.
One of a kind.
Yeah.
One of a kind.
Until that time, I don't matter to the state.
Well, and that's kind of messed up in its own way.
But it's so much fun. I love being the underdog.
Yeah.
For the brewery, I was always the underdog. A lot of the stuff I've done around the world is I've been the underdog, because I'm smaller than most big guys that fight and things like that. And whatever it is we're doing, I'm always kind of the underdog because I'm poor and nobody knows about this brewery, so nobody cares. So when the time comes and we finally get to blast out there, I am looking so much forward to it because the speeches and the engagements we've been at, not a single one of them will mention me because they're so worried between the Republican and Democrat side. I'm afraid they're not realizing what's going to happen.
Yeah. I actually saw your name on an email for the first time today because I looked to see who they sent it to, right?
Yeah.
And so because it was like for candidates, I'm like, oh, well, Lee Stevens on there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh,
I think we got invited to the event on May 30th.
Yes, like the
down at
Colorado
Park.
Springs Fest. Or
Yeah,
something.
the Spring Fest.
Yeah, and so I always look to see who these are for, and so I was like, oh, glad to see he got invited.
Yes,
So,
I'm
I
really
did look
excited
after,
for that. Yes.
I don't like that person. I'm not going.
Yeah.
No, but I appreciate it because you're you're the only person running in any kind of office that has been trying to at least, hey, did you hear about this event? Did you see this event? So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, because like when I first met you, I felt kind of like a jerk because I was like, I had no idea who you were. Like you weren't like on anybody's radar, and I was like, sorry, because I felt,
back in November they did an actual debate between all the candidates. And I wasn't invited to it. And I emailed the lady running the event. I made a public Facebook post on their thing after they made the video. And I was like, how come I wasn't invited? And I got blocked and deleted from all of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Well, that especially because especially when they've done one where it includes the Republicans and Democrats. If it's everybody,
It was supposed to be everybody. They even said that at the beginning of the video. We invited all of the candidates. Obviously, Jeff Crank didn't show up.
Yeah, well. And
all the Democrats did. And then they didn't. They said they invited everybody. And so I messaged and I asked about that, and they just blocked and deleted me. Yeah. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, well, I just remember feeling like that awkward moment where you're like, oh, did I just put my foot in my mouth? Because, that happens to all of us. But when I first met you, and I was like, oh. No idea who you are.
No, and I was fine with that.
I was gonna be straight up honest. Heard of your brewery.
Yes.
Not of you.
Yeah. No, but that's perfectly fine. I mean, and because we had a great time, and that went really well. Yeah. And you're very civil. Like I said, with Joe Reagan, he's the only one of them I've been able to talk to. Yeah. Like I tried to talk to the other one who's running a few times, and she won't talk to me either. Yeah. And it's like, oh, it's okay. I understand. Yeah. You're too good.
Thing is, in a lot of ways, regardless of what party you are and how much I may or may not disagree with you on things, I do believe there's something we got in common. We just got to find it. And two is in some ways we're all working towards the same goal, right? We all love our community. We love where we live. And in our own way, we want what's best for those around us. Nobody's like, oh, I hate kids in the fire department,
and regardless of anything else, I'm one of your constituents.
Yeah, right.
So I am going to be voting for you.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, but it's funny how that works. So if we do, even if we when both of us go up for the election, we can vote for each other because we're both each other's constituent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool, right? And it's I think that's been the most interesting thing is meeting people and being especially these higher races, I'm like, this could be the person representing me. And then you feel you're rubbing elbows with greatness or something because it's
I feel the same way when I go and meet them and I'm like, oh my God, you're running for Congress. And then I'm like, oh wait, I'm running for Congress.
That's you. That's
the imposter syndrome is real.
Yeah. I still it's so cool to meet these people. And then I'm like, oh wait, I'm one of these people now.
Yeah. Or talking, just oh, I had a conversation with the mayor or the city council. Right, yeah. And you're like, that makes me, I'm like,
I've never done this before.
Imposter syndrome is right. Because I'm like, have y'all met me? I'm not sure I'm qualified.
Exactly.
That sounds terrible. I am qualified.
Yes, you are qualified. But yeah, that's one of those things meeting the mayor. Yeah. I've never met a mayor in my life, and now I've met the same mayor 3 times.
Yeah.
And it's just this is a big deal, but also now I'm on this level, and it's so weird to think that way. It's usually not till afterwards that it hits me. During, I'm like, oh my God, this is the mayor. Oh my God, this guy's a congressman. I've met 2 senators since I've started running now, and I've met both the senators for our state. And any other time it would be oh my God, I'm meeting the senator. Now it's oh, okay, yeah, I went and talked to the 2 senators today.
Yeah, and you're I'm one of you.
Yeah, it's still surreal.
Think of yourself as oh, I'm the Army brewery. Wackadoo guy.
That's it.
And here you are running for Congress, Congressional District 5, right?
This was not on my bingo card.
No.
If you don't feel a little imposter syndrome now and then, you're not moving forward.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you imposter as a human or as a Sasquatch?
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
I definitely don't feel human most days.
Just wondering.
Right. Yeah. All right. So what are some of the major things that you're running on? Why should people vote for you?
One.
Not to get serious again, but.
Yeah, no, let's get serious. One, because.
That's how we do it.
I feel that's right.
We disarm you. We got you something to drink.
We go on a tangent and then we get back with a hard-hitting question.
Yep, there it is.
Hard-hitting one.
The hard-hitting ones.
You told me these were going to be lobs, nice softballs, Stephen. Here we are. I feel like I'm getting a whole switcheroo.
The spotlight on you now.
No, really. So the number one is that character matters. Who you are matters. And so when you look at my social media, I've shown you all the things I've done and try to be who I am as a person, right? That because I was because we can't always agree, but hopefully if you know who I am, you can trust that I'm doing the best I can with all the information I have. And I don't have all the answers really, because you know what I've never been? I've never been a brewer. I've never been a teacher. I've never been a nurse. I've never been a firefighter. But, I know people have had those jobs. So if something comes up that I need to vote on, you know what I'm doing? I'm picking up the phone and I'm calling my kid's principal and being I got an education bill before me. Tell me how this would actually impact you, right? And I think being okay with not knowing everything, because you know what? Nobody knows everything,
Yep.
and that's okay.
I was on a podcast a few months ago, and it was live, and people were able to ask questions, like calling in. And I was able to answer most of them really well, and people were very happy. But there were a couple of questions that came up that I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I said, instead of me giving you a big, like, look over here, here's my runaround blanket answer for everything, I was like, I genuinely don't really know how to answer this. I said, I will go and I'll research it, and I will answer you. And I actually sent that person a reply to let them know after I'd made an educated.
Didn't you do some live Googling on a couple of things?
Yeah, there was a couple of months.
So you had something.
Because they mentioned a bill number, and none of us knew what it was. So I'd have somebody look it up real quick, so I knew what the bill they were even talking about.
Yeah.
It's like I couldn't just tell you when you riddle off the numbers of the bills.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And so I had that experience this weekend. I had we had a big event, and there was somebody from Reading on the Rock there who has really stuff to try to fill the library void here on the west side in House District 14. And he was giving me some pretty detailed legislation, and I was like, I got to tell you, I have no idea about this library legislation that passed years ago. But here's what I can tell you I do know about libraries. I love them. That was one of my safe spaces as a kid. My mom took me every Monday. We went to the library in town because I grew up as a country kid, so you actually went to town, right? And you got to check out 6 books at the library. And every week I checked out my 6 books, read them, and my mom would take me back the next week. And so libraries matter. And so I was like, but that legislation, I was like, let's get together and talk about it and figure it out. And,
and especially now, I've been going on about this the past week. I went to a library here in town for the first time since I left Kentucky.
Yeah.
And, they've got the maker space with the 3D printer and all that equipment. I didn't even touch it.
Yeah. The strength of the Sasquatch aura just.
But they've got the maker space. They've got
fear.
recording studios. They've got an editing bay. They've got all these tools for people both young and old to learn something.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff that you can actually go in and do a lot with.
Yeah. It's crazy. That's actually. I don't have one handy, but that's actually how our campaign makes all our buttons.
Hold on.
We got one coming.
There we go.
See, you have an assistant.
Yes, I do have.
I'm sorry, she's your manager, right?
Yeah, campaign manager.
manager.
She really does manage me.
Oh, I know.
And to be like, you can't talk like that. Or yes. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So
there you go.
there's our
See?
buttons. So these cute little buttons. Cost 10 cents to make at the library, right? You can print $7 of color or anything. So we can print the paper underneath for free, up to $7 a week, and then to buy the supplies at the library is 10 cents, right? You can't order them that cheap. So you got a little time, a little bit of fiscal responsibility, right?
And I've got a library card.
And you got a library card. So, print off your stuff, you get $7 a week, anybody with a library card, and, so that's kind of how we've been doing it. So I love the makerspace.
See, I just learned something new. We can go get some buttons, man.
Yeah, go get some buttons. 10
We need
cents.
to, apparently.
Okay,
Your
bro,
first 10 buttons are free.
You and me, guy date, we're going to the
Guy
library.
day. I would love to see you two in the library just making buttons like the button machine, right?
Yes, the old school
I love
press.
It. Like, don't get your beard caught in it.
Well, plus like the laser engraver, the 3D printer, you'll have a field day.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So, tangent. I'm going to bring us
here we
back around. Hard questions. What else matters to me? One's education. So, the reason why is because I am the product of public education, right? Public school, right? Teachers that cared and invested in me. I was considered like an at-risk of graduating student because I was first generation, didn't have a lot, impoverished student, right? And so there was like this TRIO. It was called TRIO. It's a federal program that they have for special kids that are like, kind of met all my markers, but I was a nerd, so I did good in school. And so I got to go to college in the summers and high school, right? And go live on campus and do all that. And so and I really attribute education to being where I am today, right? That my life, like my mom loves coming to my house and seeing like the house I live in versus the house we grew up in, and like that's a sense of pride for her to see like, and how all my siblings, we've done that. And I find education has been the key to that. And I don't know if you've ever spent any time in a children's classroom. Like, I've been to one of my kids' room parents for the last 6 years, and like going to do like a holiday party at the end, I'm like, my feet hurt, my back hurt. These kids have been yelling, and it's like I'm fun, but I'm like, just give the teachers what they want. I just was here for an hour and a half, and I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't imagine doing this all day, every day. And I was just here for the fun stuff. So
we have some of the teachers that come in for like a happy hour, and they're still grading homework. They're still doing all this stuff. After their day doesn't end when their paycheck ends, they're still doing, and the amount of supplies they have to get themselves and the things. That's why whenever the teachers ask us, we're like, oh, absolutely, I would love to help you with whatever. Like we're making.
That's a good point. I haven't seen this Wednesday night in a while.
Yeah, we're making root beer. For the school for them to do root beer floats. So we're doing a big batch of root beer here, and Haley's going to help make that, and then they're going to do root beer floats, and we donated all that to them. It was like,
that's awesome.
No, absolutely. Anything we can do to help, because obviously it's hard from a brewery point of view to help a school, because we've had some come in to like do fundraisers and things like that. I'm like, we're a brewery. Do you really want us associated with? It's a hard line. It's like a gray area, but it's the appearance. And on my end, I've always understood. I'm like, hey, I don't think we should do something with the school simply because I don't want to see that some parent somewhere is going to get mad that money came from a brewery to help a school. So we try to do what we can, you know, in the best visual light. So like we're making soda for them. That's great. And then they had asked me to come in and talk to them about like the science and everything behind brewing. That I can do, but we're trying to keep that. I don't want anybody at the school to get some Karen mom to come in and scream at them because a brewery is helping the school.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think that's ridiculous. You know, I'm like, I should have come to you. We just had our PTO auction. I should have come in and asked for a gift certificate and let people bid on it, right? Because you know, parents enjoy.
Absolutely.
You know, we're still people, right?
Yeah,
just
you're still
like
human beings.
Children did not.
I don't think
Still my identity.
I don't think the parents would have had a chance if we get to donate a gift card. The teachers are going to be bidding on it.
Yeah, but if anybody needs it, oh goddamn. So now you're unsupervised.
I'm unsupervised. Let the good times roll, y'all.
Are you watching? You're gonna have to wait till tomorrow to see the video.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to give her one of the clickers.
Yeah. She should have set off camera with a clicker. Yeah. There you go.
Right. Yeah. So there's that. Obviously, education matters. Education funding, because in the state of Colorado, education sat on the chopping block for 14 years through the budget stabilization factor. And during that time, the state essentially shorted like D20, I think 277 million, and D11 like 350 million. Yeah. And those school districts, you know, made the resources happen in the classroom. So where does that shortfall go, right? Deferred maintenance in our buildings, right? That's why you see.
Yeah, well, there was one of the schools that got demolished, didn't it? Last year or the year before.
Or they close
Renee? Oh, never mind.
She's working.
I'm sorry.
She's working here.
Gosh.
We're over here on our break.
You know, some people have jobs.
She's supposed to be a co-host. Oh wow, yeah.
I'm gonna pay for that comment later.
No, you're supposed to be back there brewing beer, and you're up here. No.
But you know, there was. I think it was a couple of years ago. They said one of the schools was like condemned because it was in such bad shape.
Yeah, and so. You know, and this year, you know, we had like a 1.7 billion budget deficit. You know, and
after our current governor bragged at the beginning of the year how we had a balanced budget and everything was good. Yeah. The deficit showed up like 2 months later.
But then there's revolving road construction, but the roads never get better.
Oh, God, yeah, right. Yeah. But the education is an investment in our future. Everybody's worried about this moment, but that education system, if they didn't have the education they did when I was growing up, I wouldn't be where I am today. And it's now that I'm a productive, serious tax-paying member of society.
Yes. You know? So very serious.
I guarantee you I've paid more in taxes since I started this brewery than it cost me to go to school for 12 years.
Yeah, I believe that too. And that's, you know, and I get it's like kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul, you know, when it comes to some of these budgets and what our priorities are. But I'm not saying that all these other programs aren't meaningful, but it's like education did its time.
Healthcare and education are every member of society. No matter what else is going on in this world, no matter what else we have to give up or we have extra of, education and healthcare is what keeps your society, your civilization going.
Yes, right? And the studies show, like in microeconomics, that the more educated a society is, the more productive it is, and the better it does. And so I think that matters. And that's something I feel pretty strongly about, and I want my kids to grow up to be educated because while I love them, I don't want them like living in my basement forever. Which brings me to my next topic: cost of living.
Nice.
You like that?
I like that. You did a good transition there.
Right? Because love my kids, but I don't want them to live in my basement when they're like 30.
Yes,
right?
thank you.
So as great as they are.
Eventually you got to.
Yeah. I'm like, spread your wings and fly, sweet little babies. They're 11 and 9, and I'm talking about, like, when are y'all moving out?
Yeah, right. Are we there?
Yeah,
Get out of the house. I want to walk around in my underwear and eat Cheetos.
I mean,
I'll just walk around eating Cheetos now. Right? Cheetos are delicious. So that's one. But cost of living is a problem. Like, I look at my house. I've been in 10 years, and I think now it would probably sell for almost $300,000 more than I paid and more than double the interest rate, right? Yeah. So I look at people buying houses today, and I'm like, how's that working? I'm like, that math doesn't math to me, right?
Yeah. You really need like 2.5 to 3 grown adults all paying bills to break even nowadays.
Yeah, right. And like, don't have kids because childcare is like another mortgage payment. So you both got to work to make your actual mortgage payment or pay your rent, pay for your kids. Because I know when my son, who's now 11, I looked into it. This is really why I started my own law firm. When I was looking at putting him in infant care, when he was maybe 10 months old, it was cheaper to send him to UCCS as a freshman for a year than it was to put him in daycare.
Yeah.
And I'm so I get to pay for college twice?
I've seen that. There's a few people we know that they stayed at home with the kid because that was making them more money than if they went and got a job and had the kid in childcare. How does childcare cost more than what you're making to pay for the childcare?
Yeah, and and that's why we made that decision, right? Because it's like, well, I could work part-time even a little, and that would hopefully enough to supplement or make up the difference. But I'm like, because I think and we knew we wanted another kid, so I was like, I can't afford $2,500, and this was 10 years ago, $2,400 a month for 2 kids in daycare. I'm like, come on, who can do that, right? And to afford to live, right? Because heaven forbid
that's more than half of my monthly income.
Yeah, right. And you think, we need to live and put gas in the car and food on the table. And this is why I think state elections are so important, right? Don't get me wrong, all that happens on the federal level matters too. But on the state, it's like they're the ones deciding how much money is going to fill that pothole that has you needing an alignment, right? Yeah. They can remove barriers of entry to the market for small businesses, whether that's brewing permits and licensing and all the permitting that goes into that. Same for small farmers, small kitchens. And doing that, and there's a balance between keeping people safe, healthy, and making it so difficult for people to enter the market.
Well,
right?
It's just we've got one of the largest veteran populations in the United States, right here in Colorado. Unfortunately, that number is dwindling quickly because so many other states are offering the no tax on your home. Your property tax for your house and for some of your medical and your vehicles and things like that. A lot of states now are offering these big reductions in that, trying to get those, because veterans, that's for those of us on the disability, that's a guaranteed monthly income coming into the state.
Yeah.
And now more and more veterans are leaving, moving to states like Texas and places like my sales tax here in Colorado Springs, 8.2%. Yeah. That's pretty high.
Yeah. Well, in Oklahoma, so I'm from Oklahoma, and my dad was 100% disabled before he passed, but my mom now, as his spouse, she still gets some of those benefits. She doesn't pay property tax, because my dad didn't. Yeah. And for 100% disabled vets, Oklahoma doesn't charge sales tax. She has a special little card she can carry.
That would be huge.
Right? Yeah. And so, whatever it is, she doesn't pay sales tax on it because of that service. And
so states are now, they're trying to do that. And Colorado is one of the worst, even though we have the highest veteran population. So that is something on the state level that maybe you could
that's interesting, because I didn't realize that we ranked so poorly on that. 'Cause
It's very bad. A lot every year now. We're losing more and more veterans to other states.
Yeah.
Whereas Colorado was the #1 state for veterans just due to the sheer population. So you got a
all
lot of
the
military
bases.
bases here.
Yeah.
Everybody retires here. For some reason,
beautiful.
I'm here.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful.
I've never.
Yeah,
well,
it's a
exactly. That's why I'm here.
place.
We live
Yes.
on a postcard. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Go out and look. You
Absolutely.
need to go look out there.
I
at
can
the
literally,
mountains.
turn the corner and there it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
So that's-
or even looking at Rock Rimmond's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I can literally see the
Ute
park
Valley
and
and
Ute
all
Valley
that.
and all that right there.
Like I can record my ride to work and pick out 5 postcards.
Yeah, right.
You
You're
know?
absolutely right.
It's nice to have. I was dropping my kids off at school this morning, and I was like, "Oh, brake slam!" There's like some deer just, out on the road.
We have
know?
a group of 8 almost every single day. They go right across here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sitting in
The day one of them gets hit, it's going to be in the walk-in. It's legal.
Hey, yes. Hey,
And I'm
right?
providing a service. I'm getting it out of the
Yeah.
road.
That's-
Now a city employee doesn't have to take his time to come do it. I'm helping
That
out.
sounds like
Absolutely.
those Kentucky roots right there.
Yeah.
Maybe a little.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm just saying that feels like the Sasquatch coming out right there. And so cost of living,
Yes.
education, and then the other thing that, it's kind of a new thing for me to care about, in all honesty, but having seen it is growth, right?
Yes.
And smart growth, because growth is good, but also we live in Colorado and it's real dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if y'all noticed that
It's
we
not
got
just-
no snow.
Yeah, that was rough this year. But it's not just slap down 5,000 new houses.
Yeah.
That seems to be everybody's Band-Aid to it.
Yeah.
Population
Everybody
growing, so we
forgets
just-
that word infrastructure.
Yeah,
Like
They
roads,
we'll put
water,
down
power.
5,000 new houses. We'll open a new Coca-Cola bottling center right here in town during one of
Talk
the
about
worst
putting an
droughts in
AI
30
data
years.
center in town.
Yeah, and
That's not a draw on resources.
Yeah, right. Because it's not like it doesn't take a crap ton of water to
Yeah.
keep all that
Well,
processing
yeah,
cool.
That's what I'm worried about is the Coca-Cola bottling plant.
Yes.
They're bottling. That's a lot of water because I know how much goes into beer. So does the same thing.
Yeah, and
yeah.
so, don't tell it. Great, we have 3 years in reserves, but what about if we keep having years like we've had,
Yeah.
right? Where we don't get enough precipitation. You can go through that real quick, right?
It-
Especially if you keep building new houses and,
Yeah, it's
we're
like-
not going to tax those
we're-
businesses and they're not creating a ton of new jobs.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Data process centers don't need a lot of.
No, and
People.
the Coke plant they promised 120 jobs.
I was talking to somebody about that the other day. They were like, well, at least the data center provide a bunch of jobs. I'm like, I bet you that an entire data center employs like 20 people and
Tops.
15
Yeah.
of them are security.
Yeah, right. Because it's literally a bunch of computers there processing stuff.
That's supposed to be the
right?
point behind a
You're
data
watching
Not
center.
somebody out
screens
there
and
with a
maintaining
computer,
temperatures.
typing that
No.
in,
There's one guy checking the temperatures, making sure it's still cool
Yeah,
enough
you probably
in there.
got a couple of maintenance guys.
and I got to flip a
That's some
switch.
HVAC.
Yep.
You got a lot of HVAC
Oh, yeah.
people, the HVAC people. And so, and that's been a huge thing here in House District 14, right? They had their meetings over at Garden of the Gods the other day. Tons of people turned out where they ended up having to have 2 sessions because people were like, wait a tick.
Yeah, we don't
And I'm
want
just
this.
like, oh yeah, we're already talking about less watering, things going up,
Oh.
and I am all for renewable sources of energy. But if you want to open these things, you have to have enough redundancy and load to power
Yes.
them. I'm like, you can't. Again, it's like you can't close down power stations, but then to have a bunch of things that are sucking power. Right?
Yeah.
If
Oh,
you
no.
want to be green and preserve.
Yeah,
But-
we have none of that stuff in place now.
Yes.
We're closing the power plants without the backup power that's supposed to be the new green way to do it.
Yeah.
It's like now if you built it and then you shut down, understand, because then you're balancing the load.
Yeah.
But we're shutting down plants before we've got the other stuff built.
One of
Yes.
the
And then, sorry, go on.
I talked off camera with one of the guys we've talked to before about the power industry and talking about how the government is giving all kinds of grants and everything to build nuclear power stations, and Colorado is getting none of it.
Yeah.
They're not going for any of it, and was talking about if he gets in, that's one of the first things he wants to do is look into some.
Oh
of the,
yeah, one of the other guys running for governor.
Yeah.
He's talking about that. Yeah, nuclear
I was
power.
trying to stay as vague as
Yeah,
possible.
that's all right. I'll say it. I'll call him out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say his name,
Only
but
because it was a conversation off camera.
you're right. But it's a good thing that there's such a taboo. But in the last 30 years, I mean, nuclear power technology has grown significantly,
Yeah.
and now it's the safest form of power with one of the lowest amounts of pollution.
Yeah.
And we don't want to touch it because everybody's like, oh, I remember 30 years ago when a nuclear power plant melted down. That was 30 years ago. You know how much has changed?
And it was
since?
Russian.
And the science
right?
and the technology and all of that has come so far
Oh,
in
yeah.
such a short amount of time. And so that's like when it comes to infrastructure, like, well, great, build the new neighborhood, but do we have the resources to support it?
Yep.
Do we have, and that includes water, power, roads, right?
Well, just this morning, Monument, it was in the newspaper that Monument is doing, they're going to have to raise the water rates significantly due to the shortage this year, because they said they've been working on a shortfall for the last 3 or 4 years, and it's hit the critical stage now where they're going to have to raise the prices, and they're going to have to go into, like Denver just announced they went from the small restriction to a major restriction on their water. And we just emptied out a reservoir, Acacia reservoir, where people used to go angle fishing and camping. They're draining that to resupply Denver, and so that entire reservoir is being wiped out this year. And they're going to shut down all fishing, camping, because the reservoir is going to be empty.
Because whenever they do that, they open it up to anglers and fishermen. As long as you got a license, catch and keep everything. They're like, hey, it's all going to die anyway, so
because it's
might as well have a fish fry.
But they're going to drain an entire reservoir to backfill because of how low we were on our water this year.
And so that's like, I am all for growth.
Well, at the
I am
same
all
time,
for
we're also
renewable,
building
like,
another one.
So I'm like, I don't, and I'm not a scientist, but there are people out there who are, and I'm like, are they part of this conversation about how this growth and the economics and the resources work? And that's what I mean. Like, we need those people involved in this conversation. Like, because you know what? Don't know a ton about that. So you know who we need? The people who know about those things to do it. We're like, oh, but we get money and power.
That's
and
all they care about.
And that's not what matters, right? It's
I was
creating a
elected to this position, so I can do what I want.
Yes, you're the expert.
It's like, we've already got a cost of living issue. You know what? Great. I get we need more homes to meet demand. But it's like, how are people going to get to and from, right? What about the quality of life of being stuck in traffic for 40 minutes?
Because we're going to put a 2-lane road in for 10,000 people.
Pick up a side gig to afford my water, or, now my grass is all dead because I can't water it, and I already have, all the drought-resistant things I'm supposed to have. And so I feel like we're not letting the people who are the experts in that field, and I feel like that's one thing government has missed, is like, lawyers like me, we shouldn't be making all the choices. We need the people who know the things. Right? I'm using that as like a generic term, right? Like the people who know how to do the things, the science. I always ask my husband, I'm like, he's a mechanical engineer and works in the chemical industry and had worked in power plants for years, is what he did, doing water treatment. And so I'm always like, explain this to me in a way I'm going to understand. Right? Because I was like, I know right?
But we keep cutting budgets for things like that. Like NASA, we just took another huge chunk out of them. And some of the greatest scientific advancements either come from warfare or from us exploring space. And now we're taking that away.
Okay, guys, I'm having a great time.
I know. I
gotta go get my kids.
I was about to wrap it up.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'd sit here and talk.
No,
I
you're
don't know.
good.
This is why I have to charge a flat rate for my law firm, because I will sit and talk all day if you'll let me. And I'm like, people shouldn't pay for my chatty, over talkative nature, right? And so, I got another meeting at 4 and all these. I know my kids got judo, and my husband decided he had to go to Kansas for work this morning, so he flew out. So,
So yes, Sarah Emery, Congress District 14 on the state level. So
Sarah Emery, Colorado State House of Representatives, House District 14. Vote for me, please.
There you
Look
go.
into Steven. There's a lot. He's working twice as hard as some of the rest of us to make this independent thing happen, and I respect that effort, knowing the rules for being part of a party. So that takes grit and perseverance and strength of character. So keep those things in mind, y'all.
Well, thank you very much for that. So from all of us here at Wackadoo, thank you for being on the show.
Yes, and thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, it was our pleasure.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you. So remember, don't just do it.
Wackadoo it.
Yeah.